Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be doing a book talk, and the book I'm going to be talking about is Twisted Fate by Nora Olson. So this is my spoiler review. If you guys have not read Twisted Fate yet and you want to see my non-spoiler review, I'll leave that link down below. So you can check out my non-spoiler review. This is going to go into some major spoilers. So if you have not read this yet, I would not recommend watching this. And if you have, you shouldn't be here unless you have. So if you have, let's get into the spoilers. So my major issue with this was the ending, when we find out that Sydney and Allie are the same person. I still do not understand how they can be the same person. I get the clues leading up to them being the same person. There were clues throughout the book. You know, both the girls being called Tate and referred to as Tate by their friends, and just some different clues that would have you figure out that they are the same person. But here's why I'll say I didn't expect them to be the same person. And like I said, it's mainly the last two chapters of the book that takes place from, it's sort of Sydney's point of view, and then the last chapter is the police point of view. And so in the second to last chapter with Sydney, Graham, and Allie, so Sydney basically hits Graham with her skateboard, knocks him into, hits him on the side of the head with her skateboard, and knocks him into, off the pier into the water. And he is, basically he's going to drown. And Allie sees everything happening, and Allie goes to jump in after him and try to save him. And Cindy's sort of trying to stop her from saving Graham because she feels like she needs to protect Allie against Graham, because Graham is a sociopath, which I'll get into Graham a little bit after, because yeah, that kid's messed up. But so she's trying to protect Allie, and trying to get her to, like, just leave him, he's already dead, there's nothing we can do for him, just leave him. Allie, let him go. And so she's trying to get Allie out of the ocean and get her to leave Graham behind. But Allie is like, no, we can't do this, we have to help him. And so she's like swimming, she's holding on to Graham, trying to get him back up on the pier. And Sydney is trying to stop her. And there's this wave that comes in and hits Allie. So at this point, I guess Sydney is, she's not in the water yet, but there's a wave that comes and knocks Allie over to the side. She hits her head and she's unconscious in the water. And so now Sydney jumps in the ocean because she wants to save her sister. And she goes in there trying to save Allie, but it's like the water's freezing and she can't really get to Allie, and she's having a hard time getting to her. And then, she realizes, she's already dead. Her sister is already dead. So she gets out of the water back onto the pier and realizes the only thing she can do now is go to Graham's house and delete all his video files that he took of Allie, because he took a lot of videos of her. Some of them were of them together naked, so and a lot of his videos he sells to people, to strangers online. So she doesn't want anyone online getting videos of her sister. So she pretty much gets in Graham's car, goes to his house, goes in his room. I guess no one's home. So she goes up to his room, deletes all the files that he has, destroys everything, and then leaves and goes back to the pier. And then that's the end of that chapter for her. Then we get the next chapter, which is the police point of view. And the police is talking about how Allie and Graham died 10 minutes apart from each other. He doesn't know what exactly happened, who killed who, or if this was an accident, or what the heck caused this. But he knows from the medical reports and examines that they died 10 minutes apart from each other. And the police also talks about how the strange thing is, when they went to Graham's home, his computer was destroyed, the files were destroyed, and there was ocean water all over his bedroom, and the seat of his car had ocean water in it, and there were no fingerprints anywhere in the car or the room. And so the police are just totally confused as to what happened here. And then we get the very last page, where it's a blurb, I guess, in the newspaper that talks about Allie and Sydney, and basically, kind of like their obituary. But her full name is Allison Sydney Tate. So that's when we find out Allie and Sydney are both the same person. Now, here's what I really am having a hard time figuring out, is unless we entered the realm of supernatural, which I'm not going to like that either, because for the whole entire story, this book was contemporary, no supernatural elements. And then if by the very end we get some supernatural ghost thing thrown in, I'm really not going to like that. Because if they supposedly died 10 minutes apart, I don't see how Sydney could have, jumped in the water, tried to save her sister, realized she can't, then get out, go into the car, drive to Graham's house, delete all his files, and then drive back down to the pier, all in 10 minutes. That just doesn't make sense to me. And unless she's a ghost, there's no way anyone can do that in 10 minutes, unless she, was dead this whole time and it was her ghost that jumped in the car, went to his house, deleted the files, and came back. But if it was her ghost, like I said, I'm not gonna like or accept that ending, because throwing in something paranormal at the end when nothing before has been paranormal, that just seems like a cop-out. And so, yeah, that's mainly my thing. My thing was mainly the twist with the end. It doesn't seem plausible for her to do all that and still have died within 10 minutes of Graham. If they're the same person. If they're not the same person, that makes sense. You know, I could see her sister dying and then her going to do all that stuff and then coming back if that wasn't her sister, or if that was her sister and they weren't the same person. But if they're the same person, like I said, I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around all that. It just didn't make sense to me. And also, I want to know, like, why the girls are, like, if they are the same person, why is there, Sydney and Ellie, like, these two split personalities? You know, is she meant to have dissociative identity disorder, also known as multiple personality disorder? That was the old name for it. Anyway, if she is supposed to have that, okay, I want to know what caused her to have that. I want to know more about her background now, because I want to know if she has multiple personalities. You know, usually that disorder is very, very rare. That was actually one of my favorite disorders to study in psychology, and that is a very rare disorder. And usually it's most likely developed in childhood, and it's usually from severe trauma, but we don't ever get any hints that Sydney or Ellie had any type of trauma in their life. So I'm wondering, okay, if she has this disorder, what brought it on, what caused it, because not really seeing why. And then Graham, Graham is, wow. When I found out what he did, his crime, that, you know, his parents tried to get him out of, try to cover up and everything, was that he pretty much got his best friend killed. And I guess they were in the car, driving the car really fast, being idiot teenage boys. And at first when they were talking about the scene, I thought, okay, so they were both being idiots and teenage boys, and they crashed the car, and his best friend died as a result. But that doesn't really seem like something that would make everyone hate him and think he's a sociopath or whatever. And then they started talking about how after you know, because Graham videotaped, he had his camera on taping the whole thing with the car crash and everything. And you see afterwards that his friend is, like, smashed through the windshield on the hood of the car, bleeding out, dying. And his friend is like, call 911, call 911. And Graham is just standing there smoking a cigarette like no big deal in the world. And at that point I was like, okay, yeah, this kid is a sociopath. It's like, how do you stand there smoking a cigarette while your best friend is on the hood of your car dying, asking you to call 911? So, yeah, so I wasn't really expecting that, but it was interesting, you know, reading that about him. But anyway, like I said, my main thing was the ending, the twist. Just didn't make sense for me. But if it made sense for you, let me know in the comments below. Explain it so I can understand it better, because to me, it just doesn't work. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye.